Interviewer: did you seek consent from living artists or work still under copyright? No. No, we didn't. DANGERFIELD, Dangerfield. Hello people, this will be a very quick video. I'm even being lit by what I like to call my migraine lamp. It's giving me that under sort of shadow, which actually gives an overshadow. Look at that. It's that side, isn't it? Look like some kind of demon. Oh no, the conspiracy theorists are going to be out for me. So here's something interesting. This is all kicking off in the background. I'm signed up to a newsletter called Open Tools. There it is. And I'm flicking through it today. What's cooking in the newsroom? OpenAI reveals New York Times copyright lawsuit is without merit. Now, this isn't something I'm totally unfamiliar with, but I think it's something that you should be at least a little bit familiar with. As I've said many times before, keep up with AI. Just keep up with it, because this talk of is AI going to take over, as I said on a recent stream, it already has. It already has. I am in e-commerce. I don't think there's a single aspect of my business that has not been affected by AI. And in a year, you know, the changes happened, maybe less than that, 6 months. Every aspect, from marketing, through the packaging, through the shipping, through to customer service, you can't name an element of the business where there's now not AI that makes it more efficient. And, you know, there's pros and cons, obviously, with a lot of this stuff, but if you think it's going to take over, you're so far off. You're so far away from what's going on. We live in an artificial intelligent universe at the moment, for sure. And so this is quite interesting because let me just read you a little bit about this. OpenAI, they're the people behind ChatGPT, which is kind of like the root kind of, you know, that's the sort of root AI. A lot of other AI or so-called AI software uses ChatGPT to provide its processes. For instance, I have a bit of email marketing software, and it will ask you, when you're writing the subject line for your email, it will say, do you want to generate some using AI? And you have to type it. It will say, describe your email. So you'll sort of say, it's a 20% off a 20% off store-wide discount for loyal customers. It's a 24-hour flash sale, and we've got 10 new products that have been released this week. And you give it all, you know, you just tell it in English as you would a friend or a business colleague. And then it will just make you a little subject line prompt, you know, and it will do it based on information it's got in its data set, optimized to be opened. It will base how it writes it, knowing the optimum amount of characters, bearing in mind it will also know my product niche, the sort of average demographic makeup of my person, their sort of age, gender, all that other sort of stuff. What emojis work, do emojis work, what kind of words work in that for that particular type of person, etc., etc. And that will use either Bard, which is kind of like Google's ChatGPT, or ChatGPT. Now the thing is, these things like ChatGPT and Bard and what else, like Midjourney is the image maker, DALL-E is an image maker. They work using data sets. They've been filled with information. It's kind of easier to understand in terms of like Midjourney. So Midjourney makes pictures. Let's do one right now, live on this video. I'll edit out any slow moving stuff, but I think it makes sense if I demonstrate it and I can discuss it as we're demonstrating it. Hopefully I'll go straight through and won't be giving away any private information. Sorry about the lighting, I'll give it a little variation. If it's not giving me a migraine, at least I could give you one. So here we go. It's quite interesting looking at what other people have been making on Midjourney. You get sort of, it's like a little window into the sort of consciousness of our culture, and usually quite a frightening one. So there you go. This is in the newbies room, and it looks like it. So we'll go down into the one I use, which is usually there. And okay, so when you put a prompt in, you get, let me get it so you can see the prompt. It will give you 4 versions. So I'm just going to say, so the slash imagine. So that's what we have to tell it. Imagine, and now it can be anything. And I'm just gonna look around me. So I've got a water bottle there. I've got a cardigan there, and I'm going to say, imagine a water bottle cardigan, comma, photorealistic, hyper real. Nice. I could give it an aspect ratio, you know, long and thin or whatever, but I'll just leave it as a square. So it's going to give me 4 of those. So I press enter, bosh. Now the thing about AI, the problem is, well, one of the problems is if you don't tell it, it will fill in the gaps. I didn't say what the background was. I could have said a plain light blue background. I could have said a street scene, you know, because I haven't said that. Who knows what it's going to be? So what Midjourney is doing now, it's scanning its data set, and all the images that it used in its data set will have text by them. You know, if you go online and look at a picture, including the likes of Instagram, including things like Adobe stock photos, there'll be text associated with it. So it'll be a picture of a sunset over Berlin or something in 1986. So it knows what a sunset over Berlin in 1986 looks like. So if you ask for something like that, it will scrape that kind of information from its data set. So with here we go. Quite interesting. I'll make it so you can see it a bit better. I can make it even a little bit bigger. So there you go. I said, what was it? A water bottle cardigan. So it's a cardigan made out of a water bottle. Sort of. Now, what I could do is get variations on that. I could change it a bit. You could blah, blah, blah. But there's no real need to, because you get the idea of how Midjourney works. So what it would have done was scanned its huge data set, which it had got from all over the internet, loads of different resources, you know, places where there's images and text. In a Forbes interview from September 2 years ago, 2022 I think it was, this is the interesting bit. So we've got an interview here in Forbes, an interview with David Holtz, who invented Midjourney, and it's about art, creativity, blah blah blah. But this was covered in Walter Benjamin's work of art in the age of mechanical reproduction. You just change mechanical for digital, and you know. But here's the interesting bit that came out almost by accident. How was the data set built? He asks at the top there. It's just a big scrape of the internet. We use the open data sets that are published and train across those. And I'd say that it's something that 100% of people do. We weren't picky. The science is really evolving quickly in terms of how much data you need versus the quality of the model. It's going to take a few years to finally feel blah, 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 blah. Interviewer. Did you seek consent from living artists or work still under copyright? No. No, we didn't. There isn't really a way to get 100 million images and know where they're coming from. Yeah, that doesn't mean that copyright laws don't exist just because it's not feasible. Wouldn't that perhaps suggest that your technology isn't feasible because it's outside of the law? It's amazing. it would be cool if images had metadata embedded in them about the copyright owner or something. Yeah, I bet that's really what you want, innit? That's what you want to be doing. Don't forget, one image made on Midjourney, and I'm guessing here, but it's probably using 500, 5,000, 50,000 images to create your one. You know, it's having to make sure it gets it right. You know, when I typed in water bottle, it would have had to have gone through loads of water bottles, because there might be a bit of text that says water bottle, and it's a story about disposable water bottles, but the photos are a young couple in the park on a sunny day. So it needs to sort of check and, you know, cross-check, blah, blah, blah. So he reckons it would be cool, but that's not a new thing. There's not a registry. There's no way to find a picture on the internet and then automatically trace its owner and then have any way of doing anything to authenticate it. Well, that's weird, because YouTube can do it with a couple of seconds of music. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want them to be able to do this. But it's interesting that, you know, there's copyright matching with music, with audio. I can't see what the difference is here. Well, obviously I know the difference between a picture and some sound, but they're both digital markers, really, which can be matched. Can artists opt of being included in your data training model? Can they opt out of basically, can artists not be part of your stash of images that you use to make, inverted commas, new images? We're looking at that. So this came out, like I say, and it went to court. It absolutely went to court. So there's a little bit here. Yeah, this is I'll just give you a little bit of this. So this is talking about Midjourney, where it got its images from, and it says it got a load from Microsoft's Common Objects in Context dataset, but it includes images and text scraped from books, articles, websites, stuff the likes of you and me could have done. You know, the internet. You know, we're all being told, no, you can't use that couple of seconds of music. But I could have put some pictures up on the internet, some photos on Facebook, on Twitter, on this or this or this, my own page, my shops, whatever. And they can use them for free. Okay, that's nice. And so I get this through today. Let's get it so you can at least read it a bit with me. So what's cooking in the newsroom? OpenAI, the people behind ChatGPT, reveals that the New York Times copyright lawsuit is without any merit, apparently. AI has responded to the New York Times recent copyright lawsuit. So what's going on here? Because the likes of ChatGPT and Bard and all that, because they scrape their data set from the internet, that would include digital copies of the New York Times, of the Daily Mirror, of the Guardian. They probably coded it to leave the Guardian out, though. No one's going to want that turning up in their AI. But the New York Times has realised that information that they paid journalists to write, paid editors to edit, paid developers to put online, you know, that this stuff is being used again without anyone getting paid. Oh, except for the people who subscribe to Midjourney and ChatGPT, the people who are paying for that. So OpenAI are getting a few quid, but not the people that done the original work. It gets very interesting. But the spin that OpenAI, and I don't actually know where I stand on this at the moment. It's just, for me, it's just interesting. Because as the technology gets more advanced, so there's almost a sort of corresponding advancement in the challenging nature of the discussions about what's legal, what's intellectual property, what's owned, what isn't. You know, if my SUBSTACK might be somewhere in one of these AI data sets, And if someone says write a story about so-and-so, there's no reason why it wouldn't use bits of mine, mashed about a bit, mixed up with some others. So say me and 5 other writers, say me and 999 other writers are used to write someone's story. Now, I don't see a penny of that. They might publish that and make £500,000 off it. Interesting, but this is an amazing the way they spin it. So OpenAI has responded to the New York Times' recent copyright lawsuit. In a detailed blog post, they argue their use of publicly available online content, including some New York Times articles, falls under fair use for training AI models. The company mentioned that they've been working with news groups like the Associated Press and NYT, showing how much they care about the news world. I bet they do. They also talked about making sure their models are trained safely and ethically. OpenAI explained that publishers who don't want their content used for training can choose to opt out, which means their material won't be part of the training data. Okay, so publishers can opt out. Can authors? Does SUBSTACK, for instance, opt out as a platform, or do authors opt out individually? And if you do opt out, for whatever reasons you might want to, how does that affect you as history moves forward, as AI continues to envelope the culture industry? I don't want to be part of that data set. Okay. Well, you will also not be part of a certain future. Really interesting stuff. There you go. I'll leave that with you, people. If you're interested in it, just go and search New York Times AI lawsuit. Take care. Ta-da! Yeah.
Sweet bit, sweet sweet bit, sweet.